Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and I do daily breakthrough videos on this channel every single day. So if you don't want to miss any, please hit the notification bell below and subscribe. So today I want to talk about the core reasons that the fearful avoidant goes missing or pulls away from their relationships. And I'm going to separate these reasons out into the sort of overarching reasons and then the specific reasons related to big triggers for the fearful avoidant. And we'll talk about what to do sort of with both ends of this. So the person I want to sort of share this with the most is the person who's experiencing the pulling away from the fearful avoidant and is wondering like what's going on and really wants context and insight as to why this takes place. But this is also really powerful information if you are a fearful avoidant and have these habits of pulling away or sort of like going missing or falling off the face of the earth, because this is actually also telling you really important information about your attachment style and about some of your patterns. And these patterns are feedback for you where something may be out of alignment that you can focus on and you can work on recharging and healing and feeling better and just more optimistic in your life as a result of. So with that being said, the first major reason is that fearful avoidants get burnt out. Fearful avoidants of these habits due to largely core wounds combined with needs that they're trying to meet. But fearful avoidants tend to constantly feel like they have to earn their worth and sort of like prove that they're good enough just to be allowed to take up space. It's not like they're trying to like prove that they're good enough to gain more status or power, but often fearful avoidants are like overcompensating, feeling like they have to prove that they're good enough or worthy enough just to be accepted at all. And this is really common for fearful avoidance. And so it often puts them into this sort of like perpetual pattern of like overgiving, under receiving, overachieving, or at least feeling the pressure to overachieve, feeling like they have to be really on in all of their interactions and relationships. And then that's combined with like this hypervigilance, this like reading between the lines, noticing things, noticing incongruencies. And so as a result of all of this pressure that's there at a subconscious level on the FA, they easily get burned out from social situations, person-to-person interactions. And so often they sort of withdraw as a means to withdraw from all the pressure. And so this can be a really important thing to work on if you are the FA, like reprogramming the core wounds of I am unworthy, or I am not enough. And this need to like kind of prove yourself all the time just to feel like I'm acceptable at all. So it's really powerful to do that, but it's also good to know if you're on the receiving end of this, hey, like if the person sort of goes underwater sometimes or they disappear, that's often their way to just like recalibrate a little bit. The second major reason is that fearful avoidants may pull away when they feel taken advantage of. And again, this kind of goes back to that first principle I talked about where they overgive and under receive. But often what happens is fearful avoidants will overgive and under receive, and they tend to be very good at like guessing and knowing what other people need because they've been sort of trained a lot of the time by their earlier challenging experiences to be really good at reading between the lines. And this can be a superpower in some ways, but this can also be, something that causes them to feel this sense of like burden by, noticing so many things in so many different areas. And it's like, oh, I have to fix this or solve this. And sometimes fearful avoidants have a lot of like codependency and enmeshment in their programming as well. And so they may be in the situation where they have poor boundaries. And as a result of that, they will burn out just psychologically, mentally, emotionally, even like time-wise, they'll burn out. And so they'll need to withdraw from that perspective. And sometimes if they're not communicating their needs to others, which a lot of fearful avoidants are not necessarily the best at doing until they're usually working on this actively, then what often happens is they're left feeling taken advantage of in their relationships. And they often expect that people should be able to kind of like read between the lines and mind read their needs as well as they are mind reading other people's needs, but it doesn't work like that. It's really important if you are the fearful avoidant listening to this, that you remember that not everybody's as hypervigilant as you and as aware in certain situations, and you deserve to have needs and be able to communicate what's going on for you. And if you're on the receiving end, sometimes the reason the person pulls away is because they just feel like, okay, this is not a balanced situation for me. And you may not be meaning to be taking advantage of the fearful avoidant at all. And technically the burden of responsibility really falls on the fearful avoidant to set their boundaries, to communicate their needs. But sometimes by just being open to receiving by the fearful avoidant, but then not like really looking into what they might need or what's coming up for them according to their programming, their subconscious core wounds, these sorts of things. They can often be left feeling taken advantage of. But again, that burden of responsibility is for the FA to be able to communicate that. And by the way, for 14 days, if you guys want to check out all of our courses for free at PDS, we are doing a 14-day free trial. There's a link in the description box below. And that will give you access to our boundaries course, our conflict communication course, our attachment style interaction courses between each of the major different attachment styles and all the stages of relationship, and how to communicate between different attachment styles, and how to recognize what different individuals' needs are and their core wounds and what to reprogram, and all sorts of information, as well as all of our live events that we do at PDS, all the webinars I do with our students each and every week. So you can check that all out for free for 14 days just for the month of May by using the link in the description box below. So the next major reason a fearful avoidant will get burnt out is because they are actually triggered. And those earlier themes, those sort of overarching themes I just mentioned, those are definitely the fearful avoidant being triggered when they're burnt out, when they're tired, when they feel taken advantage of. Sometimes they're triggered in sort of like a resentful manner, but I mean like high level triggers this time. So other reasons we'll see FAs pull away or go missing is because they've got these stronger triggers. Now, these will be more obvious, right? So this will be stuff like when the fearful avoidant says they can't trust you, is suspicious, really pulls away quite strongly. Sometimes when a fearful avoidant fears being abandoned, they'll pull away really strongly. Fearful avoidant doesn't always create activating strategies. Sorry, the fear of abandonment doesn't always create activating strategies for the fearful avoidant. Sometimes the fear of abandonment creates deactivating strategies. Sometimes the FA thinks, oh, somebody's going to leave me in a relationship or they're pulling away. I'm just going to pull away right back. So again, we can see some of these same patterns that are taking place and coming online. And so, again, if you are the fearful avoidant, it's so important to like recognize some of these wounds. Also, if a fearful avoidant feels shamed, feels guilt, sometimes they get overwhelmed by their guilt and they pull away. So there can be many reasons that are sort of like higher level triggers as well. But at the end of the day, if you're on the receiving end of this, you can have a conversation. You can let your fearful avoidant loved one know, hey, I noticed you pull away. That doesn't feel good for me. Can we work on it together? Come up with some strategies, brainstorm different strategies for how to like have balance and look out for both of your needs at the same time, by both putting, what's on the table there. If the fearful avoidant says, oh, well, I need space on these certain days because I'm, overwhelmed by work or whatever it might be in life. Or if the fearful avoidant says, hey, I'm in a position right now where I feel like I have needs that aren't being met and I wasn't communicating to you, and that's why I was pulling away. A lot of these things can become much more solvable problems by both being vulnerable, both being transparent, sharing what you each need, and then coming up with a nice plan to take those needs collectively into consideration. So I hope this makes sense for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. That 14-day free trial link is also in the description box below. And I hope to see you on the other side.